Oops, I did it again. I bought another bike, green for St. Patrick's Day. Oh, baby, baby. What's up, guys? It's Clint, London X. So, as I just previously stated, we bought another dirt bike. Actually, I leaked it on the Temu video, the buying dirt bike parts from Temu. If you didn't see that, you should check that out. We got another one in the making. Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day to all my fellow Irish people out there. That was a little Dutch, I don't know. Anyways, today, guys, so check it out. This is kx500 in my quest to procure every single 500 ever made on the planet. I have ran into an 86. Now, this one actually has a little near and dear. It's the heck am I near and dear to my heart, because back in the day, I have a photo somewhere that lives in my archives that my dad brought home in either 85 or 86. Pretty sure it was an 86 kx500, and had me sitting on the seat of it when I was about 2 years old. And that math doesn't work out. I'm not going to disclose any further. Just going to wind it back from there. Anyways, sitting on it though, you know, dad's fresh bike they just picked up from the dealership, and I was just, it's always been a thing of mine, like, I want that bike. I want that bike. I want to feel what that was like. So let's talk about it. This is an 86 kx500. I'll give you guys a walk around. So 86, this was by far one of the most potent motors ever made by Kawasaki as far as raw power. kx500, explosive, arm ripping off power, right? Like this was it. If you wanted that eye-watering, even with goggles on kind of experience, this was it. So this engine is the exact same engine that's inside the Yamasaki. Which is the 2007, 2008, forget what year exactly, YZ450 that we dropped an 86 kx500 into. And that engine, if it's even as remotely close to that engine, I'll be so happy, because the Yamasaki's engine is a violent. It's a violent. So we want that feeling in a steel frame, and I wholly completely plan on keeping this thing original. Some of you might be wondering, Clint, your video title says that you're going to get it running, or can we get it running? Well, I'll have you guys know this actually came as a complete bike. Sure, there's some things that are incorrect right now. For instance, this is a 88 and up pipe. Doesn't really mount. See, it has a mount right here. You can see it. Don't lie to me. You can see it. So it's, the mount's supposed to be back here somewhere where it mounts the subframe, but it's not there. So incorrect pipe. It will still work fine. You know, we might need to cut it up and readjust and make it work for this year. However, when I got it home, one huge problem when I was starting to diagnose it, you know, just taking it through. Classic story, right? It ran till it didn't. That's a story with every dirt bike on the planet, really. Well, not every, it will be for most, well, unless you keep it running the whole time. But if you let it sit for any length of time, it will continue to not run, or it will start to, it won't start. It will no longer run if you let it sit for a long period of time. And that's what happened with this one. So my super sleuth brain, when I got into this here, I know I'm getting a little wordy, and I'm going to cut this off shortly, get to work. But I noticed immediately after pulling the spark plug, which wasn't even tight, and it was a brand new spark plug, got my brain to tinking. It did. And I was like, okay, brand new spark plug tells me that they couldn't get it started. So I threw a new plug out because they thought that was the deal. Nope, not even close. So when I had the plug out right and I'm kicking it with my hand, I'm seeing literal spurts of fuel come out the cylinder head. Not supposed to do that, too much fuel. There's something wrong there. So what I did next was like, okay, obviously after I pumped it out, flipped the bike into a wheelie, pumped out more of the gas, this bottom end, guys, was so full of gas that I can't wait to show you guys. So my theory is homeboy, whoever owned this, or homegirl, I don't know, can't just guess these things these days, let it sit with the fuel on. Okay, the float bowl, the float thing could only take so much of that pressure for so long. Eventually the float gave way and continued to just leak fuel into the cylinder, which found its way into the bottom end. And then, you know, after the bottom end was nice and plumb full of gas, continued to fill up the expansion chamber, muffler, pipe, whatever you want to call that thing, with fuel also. So much so as, I don't know if I still have the video. If I do, I'll put it up now. But I sent this to Mike Weir.
Mike, I appreciate you so much, buddy. So this is her. Peachy. Just took off the flywheel cover. It is full. That is gasoline. That's not water. That's gasoline. So surmise to say crank seals are probably shot. Huh? What do you think? I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking a little too negatively here, but plugs out, turns over fine, but either way it's going to have to come apart. But yeah, the intake boot is no longer what people call pliable. It's not that anymore. So yeah, that's just going to be one of the many steps. My memory slips me or not, but can you change these crank seals externally on the kx500s? I don't think you can. It might be a split in case in my future. And hopefully the crank is still good, because I doubt an 86 crank is something I can easily find. Story goes on, my friend. Just notice this too, because this is too sweet. So when the float sticks, definitely just redirect it up to the vent. I mean, I think this float was probably pissing a million miles an hour. And, you know, the best thing to do in that case is just redirect it up to the vent. It'll be fine. It's not going to fill up the bottom end. I can't wait to take off that pipe. That thing's going to be full of gas. Oh, dear Lord. I hope this thing's all right internally. Jeez.
Stator side of the engine, when I pulled the cover, it gushed fuel everywhere. I mean, the entire stator side of this engine was full of fuel. I mean, full of fuel, which might be our main detriment to getting this thing running today. Now, the simple thing is Clint, throw a spark plug in it, kick it, see if you have a spark. Thing is, guys, it still is pumping out so much fuel that I haven't been able to get it out of the bottom end yet. I'm afraid that if I do hook up the plug and it starts kicking out fuel, this thing's going to turn into a flame ball. So let's do it. Okay, you guys are going to have to tell me. You guys are just going to have to tell me if it's sparking. Come on, would you just work? I'm trying to get you to run again. All right, here we go. Spark, please, because then we could have a running bike. Maybe. Oh, yeah. I can't believe it. I'm literally, oh my God, the fuel. I can smell it. I can't believe it. I am so stoked. So that means that our list of things to do today just got a lot shorter. Let me post you back up like Post Malone. Dumb jokes, I don't know. Sometimes they come naturally. I'm going to try to keep this video around a half an hour today. If we go over that, I'm sorry. I have a lot of work to do, and I don't know if you guys want to be pervy to all of it. Pervious. Preminocta. So I went ahead preemptively. That's why it's already kind of torn apart. I wanted to have this thing broken down to a part where we can actually, in one video, get a bike running, even with new parts. So I have to rebuild this motor today. So what that means is I have to completely split the cases on this thing. And while I'm there, I might as well do crank bearings, Might as well do all other bearings. Might as well do all crank seals and gaskets, and I got a lot of work to do. So, well, it's got a garage spring. As okay, that's never seen that, or some sort of trampoline spring to hold the pipe on. Anyways, I'm gonna get this thing up to the bench, start tearing this motor apart, and hope to God, I mean, it really should get running today. So, unlike normal videos where you see me working on the bike for like hours, I'm gonna try to just get this thing off camera right now, strip it down, rebuild it, the quickest rebuild I can, which it definitely deserves a full one with vapor blasting and all that stuff, but we're gonna do our best, okay? Let's go. Boys and girls, as promised. Whew, that was easy. So there's what's left of the failed air side seal, and yeah, that's like I said, there's this lip right in here, so you can't pull the seal through that way. You have to split the cases just to replace the seal. Yes, we are going to be doing it on the oil side. I forgot to drain the engine oil, so when I split the cases I counted a little surprise, but we have that draining now, and then we'll change that side seal, change the main bearings and gaskets and seals, and we'll get this thing back in the bike. Oh, what am I up to? Oh, guys, tell you what, I've been scraping gaskets. My hands are getting tired. I got a little bit more of this head gasket. I got the base gasket off. The worst was the clutch cover gasket. Oh my God, but you can see the shredded gasket everywhere. This, taking off this, I'm gonna imagine a lot of this gasket was OEM to 1986 because it was just petrified. And you can only imagine what this head gasket's like. I'm gonna keep peeling though. We'll get there. Tell you what, guys,
that is not easy. I'm just gonna be straight up with you guys. Yeah. Reassembly time. Torquing everything down. I gotta finish cleaning the bottom of the head, get all that gasket off. But we're on the home stretch, getting this thing back together now, and I am already pooped, but let's get it done.
Whew. So, to be honest with you guys, this was easy. This was a breeze. Nope. But she's back in, and it looks just as bad as when we put it together or took it apart. Yeah, when we took it apart, it looks the same. So, all we did was we changed the, let me get them. You know, it's proof of work here. I mean, I don't even know where everything is, but I don't know where the other bearing is, but. So we changed both seals and bearings for both sides. I just don't know where the other bearing is. You'll take my word for it. Actually, I think it's outside because I had to, pound it out there. We're gonna get this thing back together, and well, I'm gonna spend some time on the parts and make it look semi-decent. I hope this tank's still good. Man, I hope so. Hope it holds fuel. That's the important part. Yep, 86, guys. You don't make them like this anymore, and many would say thank God. That though, this part, that's the creme de la jewel. The creme de la it's the good part. It's the most desirable part. So if I get that running and doing its good things that it's supposed to do, then the rest of it will be well worth it, because you could put different forks on it. You could put different suspension and wheels and, you know, make it more better. So let me do that. Let's put you somewhere you guys can see, because that's just a nice thing to do. I mean, let's be honest, you're watching a video. Let's put you over there. So I'm gonna kick this thing. Hopefully she pops off, because it's not easy kicking a 500 a lot of times. Oil, gas, coolant, spark plug, kill switch, you know, just in case. Here we go. Doing some priming kicks. Oh. I smell fuel, I know it's getting to it. I don't know. Why are you not starting? This is my secession speech. Guys, it's 9 o'clock now. I think I started on this thing at like earlier. I don't know. It was before lunchtime. It was, engine went together fine, just as you would expect. A two-stroke. I mean, there's just nothing to them really. We replaced the crank bearings, crank seals. We replaced all the gaskets and seals except for one seal, the shift shaft seal, but I figured, you know, big deal. We could change that one externally, but you know, when that time comes, because you know, I just was more worried about getting started for the video. I've kicked this thing so many times that my right foot is glowing orange from the heat and friction. And what I've kind of seceded to is that we got one or two things playing against us here. We have spark. It's blue spark, bluish whitish, but it's not snappy. And I just spent an hour going back and forth with Mike Weir, the KX guru. Guy is super I mean, if I can ever acquire the knowledge that that guy has in my lifetime, I would be so stoked. He's such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to dirt bikes in general, but more notably, he's a huge kx500 nut, and I can't thank him enough for his help. So tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm going to tap into all this wiring, figure out if I'm just not getting enough ohms, if I'm losing some resistance or ohms from something. He did tell me that my other kx500's ignitions will work on it. They work fine with it, so I might just swap over an ignition, but I don't think that's the issue. I think we have too low of compression. I put back in the piston that was in it. It was scratched up and it was well used, but it didn't look bad. So I thought to myself, you know what, it's probably going to run fine. It's got compression, but it's a 500. Of course it's going to have compression. But the truth of the matter is, I don't think it has enough compression. It's at 125, just over. Call it, if you want to call it 127, fine. If you want to call it 130, fine. The point is I don't think it's enough. When I first assembled it, put it back together, it had 144 psi of compression, which if you look at the manual, that's on the low end of what you should be running them at. Anything lower than that, it's time to do a piston change. So after kicking this thing for way too long, like I said, it's now down to 125, and that's just because all the assembly lube and everything I used everywhere is kind of rinsed off from the fuel, and it's not running. So I think what I'm going to do this week, tomorrow's Monday, so for you it's actually today. So today, when you're seeing this, I'm going to go on to RockyMountainATVMC.com, order a brand new Wasner piston for it. Gonna order I don't know, I need to test this electrical system, but I might as well grab a piston too. I did look at this piston. It is the standard size piston, so that tells me great. It's never seen a bore. This engine, when I just split it apart today, was the first time that engine's ever been apart. I guarantee you, just because I can tell how the gaskets were just petrified in there, and every seal was just chapped, cracked. That thing's never been into. It's never had a piston since 1986, guys. These 500s, a lot of you guys just don't know, they freaking last forever. They just go and go and go. And the fact that that thing still has an OEM piston in it, which is a standard size, leads me to believe that that is completely the original piston in it too. So let's take the cylinder off. Not on video, but I'm going to do it. Let's take cylinder off, go get it bored over. Let me order the next size over on piston. Get this thing right. It needs to be right. I have a feeling that it's just not enough compression for the 500 to start. I think 125 is too low. Any other bike, that would be fine. 500s require quite a bit more to get going. I really don't know what else to say, guys. I'm kind of a loss. I just spent my entire day on this thing. I was fully ready to have this thing pop over, and I'm trying to stay happy and shiny about it, but it's just sometimes it's like, damn, I really was expecting to ride this thing on camera today because it just seemed like a simple bottom end bearing and seal swap, and let's run the stock top end in it until they don't run no more. Well, rabbit hole goes deeper. So not going to pound your ears to death with explanations, but I'm going to cut it off here. I love every single one of you guys. Thank you. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, there's like almost 80% of you guys that are watching right now that aren't subscribed, and I don't get it, because if you like dirt bikes and you like big bores and you like just dirt bike shenanigans, this is a channel for you. You should definitely be following, and you should definitely subscribe. Guys, down in the description below is my Rocky Mountain link. If you want to support the channel, that's the best way, is just order your parts using that link from RockyMountainATVMC.com. And yeah, other than that, I'm going to go put my foot on ice, because even at 125 PSI, kicking it 1,000 times hurts. Love you guys. I'm pooped. We'll see you later.